Have you ever just looked up at the night sky and wondered, how far does all this go? Like, is there a point where everything just stops? Well, today, we're going to take a journey to the very limits of reality itself to tackle one of the biggest, most mind-bending questions out there.
I mean, it's a question that just kind of breaks your brain, right? If the universe has an edge, then what's on the other side? Because if there's another side, well, isn't that just more universe? See, this one single question cuts right to the heart of everything we think we know and everything we don't about reality.
All right, so let's start this journey. To even begin to wrap our heads around this, we have to go all the way back to the beginning, the origin story of everything, the Big Bang. But first, we need to clear up a huge misconception about what the Big Bang actually was.
Okay, so the Big Bang wasn't some explosion that happened in space. No, it was the beginning of space, the beginning of time, matter, everything. Here's the best way to think about it. The universe isn't a balloon expanding inside a room. The universe is the balloon. The actual fabric of space-time itself is what's stretching, and it's carrying all the galaxies along with it. And this is so important. There is no outside for it to expand into.
And this leads to a really fascinating twist. Even if the universe itself doesn't have an edge, our view of it definitely does. But, and this is key, it's not some physical wall out there. It's a horizon made of light and time.
Think about it. The universe is about 13.8 billion years old. That means we can only see light from objects that's had, 13.8 billion years to travel to get to us. Anything further away, well, the light from those places just hasn't reached us yet. Simple as that. This creates what we call the cosmic horizon. It's like our own personal bubble of what we can see from right here on Earth.
And that bubble, wow, it is immense. We're talking 93 billion light years across. Now, hold on a second. You're probably thinking, wait, if the universe is only 13.8 billion years old, how can we possibly see something that's 93 billion light years away? Great question. And the answer is the expansion of space itself. While that ancient light was traveling for 13.8 billion years to get to us, the space it was flying through was also stretching, massively increasing the distance. So yeah, beyond our horizon, the universe almost certainly just keeps on going. We just can't see it. At least, not yet.
Okay, so if the edge we can see isn't a real edge, does that mean a true edge could exist out there, somewhere in the unobservable darkness? Well, this is where things get really weird. This is where Einstein's theory of general relativity comes in and offers up a fascinating and, let's be honest, pretty bizarre alternative. This idea, it's just a complete game changer. Forget thinking about space as some flat, infinite grid. Einstein showed us that space can be bent, it can be warped by gravity. And hey, if space can be warped on a local level, then maybe, just maybe, the overall shape of the entire universe is something totally unexpected.
So basically, there are three main possibilities for the universe's overall shape. If it's flat, like a giant sheet of paper, it just goes on forever. If it has negative curvature, kind of like a saddle, it also goes on forever. But then there's the third option, positive curvature. In this case, the universe would have the shape of a sphere, and that would make it finite. It would have a specific size, but it would have no edge, no boundary at all. So how on earth is that even possible?
Well, imagine you're a little two-dimensional creature living on the surface of a balloon. To you, your world feels endless. You can walk in any direction you want, and you will never, ever hit a wall. But your universe is still finite, right? If you just keep walking in a perfectly straight line, you'll eventually loop all the way around and end up right back where you started. Well, our three-dimensional universe could be exactly like that, a kind of four-dimensional version of the balloon, a hypersphere that is totally finite but completely, utterly edgeless.
But what if that's not the answer? What if the universe isn't curved back on itself? What if there really is a true physical edge somewhere out there? Okay, this is where we have to leave the solid ground of established physics and take a dive into the deep end of pure speculative cosmology.
All right, get ready, because one of the wildest ideas out there is that our entire universe is just one membrane, like a bubble floating in some higher dimensional space called the multiverse. Now, in this picture, the edge of our universe wouldn't be the end of everything, not at all. It would be more like a frontier, separating our reality, our laws of physics, from a completely different universe that's literally right next door.
Another really mind-bending idea comes from the world of quantum gravity. It suggests that space isn't some smooth, continuous sheet. Instead, it's pixelated. It's made of these incredibly tiny, indivisible units, almost like atoms of geometry.
And if that's true, then an edge could simply be the point where the pixels just run out. The fabric of space would literally stop existing because there are no more units left to define it.
So what would that even be like, to approach an absolute edge like that? I mean, it wouldn't be like running into a wall. No, the laws of physics as we know them would probably just disintegrate completely. Things like direction, distance, even time itself might just lose all meaning. The whole concept of what's beyond becomes completely nonsensical when space itself just stops. It's an idea that really pushes our imagination to the absolute breaking point.
So, okay, we've got all these wild theories, from curved space to cosmic membranes, but, they all point to an even deeper question. We've talked about what an edge could be, but why? Why are we so completely obsessed with finding one? The answer to that, well, it might just tell us more about ourselves than it does about the universe. If you think about it, our entire history is one big story of finding boundaries and then smashing right through them. From the "Here be dragons" written on the edge of old maps to the quest to split the atom, we are a species that just needs to know where the lines are drawn. And this question, this cosmic question, is really just the latest and maybe the grandest version of that same ancient impulse.
And ultimately, the answer to this question completely changes how we see our place in the cosmos. I mean, if there is no edge, it means we're part of something truly infinite, a boundless reality that goes on forever and ever. But if there is an edge, that means we exist inside a finite creation, and that immediately forces us to ask an even more profound, maybe even more unsettling question. So, what's beyond?
Psychologically, the whole idea of infinity can be really unsettling. It's just so hard to grasp. It denies us a sense of place, a sense of closure. Our brains are basically wired to look for boundaries and definitions. So an edge, even a really terrifying one, offers this strange kind of comfort. It gives the universe a shape, a definition, a final frontier that we can at least try to wrap our minds around.
And maybe, just maybe, that's the real answer. Whether the universe has a physical edge or not, maybe our relentless drive to find it is the whole point. The act of asking the question, of pushing our minds to the absolute limit, that's what truly matters. Perhaps we are, in a way, simply the universe's way of trying to understand itself. We're the consciousness of the cosmos, reaching out, trying to touch the very edge of its own existence.